All right. Good morning. Welcome, everybody, to another virtual Creative Mornings event. It's hard to believe we've been doing these online events for a full year now, but really looking forward to getting back into C-Space so we can stop staring at computer screen people all day long. I'm Stephen Wilhelm, the host of the Calgary chapter. Thank you, everybody, for attending the event this morning. Just giving everyone a quick heads up that after our talk with Ivy, we are going to head into breakout rooms of about maybe 2 to 3 people each for a few minutes afterwards. And I do encourage you to stay connected for this. And the reason we do this is really to give you a chance to meet some of the random and wonderful people in our community. And now that we're online, actually creative people from around the globe. So if you can stay on for that, I would encourage it. And then afterwards, we'll all meet back together in the main presentation and we'll do a Q&A with Ivy at that time. Now, there's always a few people who haven't been to Creative Mornings, so I always like to read the manifesto, which we have modified slightly for the post-COVID world. Let me just switch to screen sharing. All right. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in jazz hands, virtual claps, and virtual snaps. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. All right, I'm just going to spend a couple minutes thanking all the great people and companies that help make this happen. First off, our global sponsors. Thank you to Skillshare, our global partner for online learning. Skillshare is an online learning community helping millions take the next step on their creative journey. Our friends at Skillshare are excited to help you create something meaningful with access to thousands of inspiring classes through an exclusive limited time offer of 40% off an annual premium membership. This is an incredibly rare promo that Skillshare was super excited to share with the Creative Mornings community. It is valid for new members and only runs through the end of this month. So check out the link in our chat and sign up today. And I'm just going to post that link in our chat right now. All right. Okay, also thank you to MailChimp, Creative Mornings' official global partner for marketing. Change is one of the only constants in life, but it's often fast and unpredictable. At MailChimp, created a report to help small businesses overcome uncertainty and find success. Take a look at marketing strategies to help your small business grow. And as well, I am going to post a link to that in the chat as well. Okay. And thank you as well to Basecamp, our global partner for project management, and their groundbreaking new email platform, Hey. The Creative Mornings headquarters team in Brooklyn recently launched a campaign called Hey Creative Mornings. And think of it as our global virtual water cooler. So far, they've collected insights about your favorite books and also tapped into your hot tips for writing powerful email signatures. Check it out. Share your thoughts in the comments section. And as well, I'm going to copy and paste that in the chat as well, so you can have that link. All right. And finally, I just want to take a quick moment to thank our local sponsors. First up, a big thanks to Double Tap Creative. Double Tap works one-on-one with entrepreneurs and small business owners who understand the value that good design and branding can play in the success of their company. The coffee you would have been drinking and hopefully will be drinking soon is from the Roastery. Established in '85, Roastery is Calgary's original specialty coffee shop. And also, hey, if anybody lives near Kensington, please drop by the Roastery, say hi, let them know you're from Creative Mornings community. And I think now more than ever, we need to support our local businesses. I also want to recognize Gil Nye, our video sponsor. Day One Media helps businesses tell great stories with video, touching the heart and mind of your customer. And finally, I do want to thank C Space, where we would normally have our events. And if you're from Calgary and this is your first Creative Mornings event and haven't been to C Space, make sure you come back once things are opened up. It's a beautiful arts community in this city. All right, let's get on with our event. March's theme is Ripple, and everything you do has the power to create its own ripple effect. Like an object breaking the water's surface, our actions can cause a series of ever-expanding waves of impact stretching far beyond our individual reach. Our Tel Aviv chapter chose this month's exploration of Ripple, and Masha Manapov illustrated the theme. We're going to stick pretty much to the standard format today of a 20-minute talk about. And at that time, we will keep everybody on mute. Ivy may have some questions during her presentation, so please feel free to unmute and engage with her. Just remember to mute yourself again afterwards. And like I mentioned after the talk, we are going to separate into breakout rooms. And this includes Ivy as well, so you may get a chance to meet with her one-on-one. And, you know, introduce yourselves, maybe talk about what resonated with you. And certainly if you have any issues, you can always leave the breakout room anytime, head back to the main room. And when that's all done, we will do a final Q&A for about 10 minutes. Okay. Let me just... Okay.
Hey.
One sec. Let's just get moving here. Let me do a proper intro. So our special guest this morning is Ivy Wong. As owner of Splash Interactive, Ivy has been a leader in the digital and creative space for nearly 20 years, collaborating with Fortune 500 companies and the world's largest advertising agencies. In 2010, her desire to inspire youth led to the launch of Ripple Digital Publishing. And shortly after, in 2012, her ultimate dream of giving back to a cause came to fruition with the creation of Ripple Foundation, a 100% volunteer-run youth education charity, which is her true labor of love. I am going to spotlight Ivy now and hand it over. Give me 1 second. Almost there. Okay, so please help me welcome Ivy Wong.
Hi, everyone. I know that you guys are muting, so I'm just going to assume that hello back. So thank you for having me. This is very exciting. I've never been in these type of talk before, so you know, it's totally cool. So I guess the thing is, like, I don't know if you guys had a chance to visit ripplefoundation.ca, the website, to learn a little bit about what we do. So I guess I'll start because you guys are all creative background in terms of how I got into Ripple Foundation, right? So I think the intro gave you a little bit of background about how in 2010, I started a company that's called Ripple Digital Publishing. So that company focused on developing apps and ebooks, you know, for kids. A lot of the products there are free. So again, if you have kids, you know, feel free to go there and download. It's available in Android as well as Apple. And then in 2012, I had this epiphany that I wanted to take advantage of some of the skill set and things I've learned, you know, to figure a way how to give back to the community. I think you can all concur that at one point in our life, we've all volunteered in some capacity, whether it's been asked by a friend or a local charity, you do some fundraising, so forth, which is great, and I've done all kinds of stuff as well. But even though when I was doing it, I felt like it was something that I have to do because I felt that it was like a duty, that kind of thing. It wasn't like I was really like, passionate about and really, 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 really want to do it. And so I always make this distinction in terms of, something that you have to do or you want to do. And so I thought of like, if I want to give back, how would I think of something that to give back where I really want to give back and really have fun in doing it while I'm doing it. And so utilizing my creative background, and leveraging my publishing company, I started with kids writing contests. I thought that, story writing is kind of like the fundamentals of creativity, and also like appealing to kids. And then the winning books, we publish in a book, and then the net proceeds gets donated. So that was the idea of like a small little project. And it wasn't like a small little side project. I had no idea whether it was going to go or whether it wasn't going to go. So I started building like, a skill list, promote the contest, and hope that there will be entries, and so forth. 3 months into it is like, I didn't receive one single entry. So I was kind of freaking out. I said, okay, this is not good. It's not going well. So I did more direct mail. I did more email campaigns in the hope that like, we'll get some like, entries. And literally like, a week before the contest closed, I got a little bit over 200 entries. So which was like, oh my God, that's kind of amazing, and obviously the next thing you have to do is have to read the entries, that's the other thing. So using my friends and people that I know within the industry, I put together a judging panel, because I didn't want to be the one that is like, judging the stories. I didn't want to have any bias because since I was going through all the entries. Yeah, and so the first year we published 4 titles, and I have a little show and tell here. We've published all these 4 wonderful titles. Yeah, so these are all story books written by grade 4 to grade 6. So these were the 4 winning titles. And I had a lot of fun. And so I did it again for the second year and the third year. So by 2015, like, I have friends who was asking me, so Ivy, what are you doing? Like, you just do this as, it was a little side project. I was having so much fun. She goes, well, have you thought about like, expanding it, and making it bigger? And I said, well, what do you mean? I mean, I need people. I can't do all this by myself, right? So she introduced me to a website that's called volunteertoronto.ca. So I am from Toronto and we are in Ontario. I'm not from Calgary, unfortunately. But Volunteer Toronto was an amazing site. I posted some ads, and over the weekend, I received like, 30 volunteers. I thought, oh my God, this is so great. Like, I'd love to help you out and stuff. So all of a sudden, like, I had a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a Twitter account. I had volunteers helping me to spread the word, like, drop offs, like, brochures, helping me to do mailers. It was amazing. I was like, totally like, wow, this is really, really good. So we continue on. And then, so the turning point was where once I started having volunteer, I realized I needed to clarify, because the initially was from Ripple Digital Publishing, which is my own private company, but this is a not-for-profit initiative. So that prompted me to register Ripple Foundation as an official not-for-profit. So just to make clear that to the volunteers, that they volunteer for a not-for-profit organization, not for a private company. So when in 2015, Ripple Foundation was a not-for-profit. It didn't receive the charity status until 2018 when we later applied for it, once we started to expand the program. And how we expanded the program was, as the contest was coming in, there was a lot of great stories, okay? But there was a lot of stories that wasn't so great, okay? And I recognized that these kids needed help, with the story. So I thought that, like, coming up with a writing workshop would be perfect. But obviously I'm not an educator. I didn't come from a teacher background. So I needed to, like, get a teacher to help us to put together the curriculum and all that stuff. And so, yes, and so thank goodness I met a teacher, I should help me to put together the curriculum. And so it was fabulous. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to and share a little presentation to go a little bit more in depth, about Ripple Foundation. So I'm going to share my screen. I think this is the screen. Okay, so this is the website. So this is kind of how the Ripple Foundation, where we are at this point. So this is kind of our mission statement. What we want to do is we want to empower the next generations of leaders by cultivating passion for reading and writing in youth while fostering the creativity. And these are the core three pillars: creativity, education, and leadership. So obviously, creativity, the story writing, the writing workshop with the education. And later on, we launched a third program, which was called the Wave Blog, which, we hope to instill leaderships, for high school students. So we have the three core program, as I mentioned, Kids Write for Kids, which is a contest. So this is actually our 9th year doing the writing contest. So it's kind of really, really amazing that I can't believe, next year it's going to be our 10th anniversary. So we really want to do something special next year. The writing workshop, we launched, we piloted at a summer camp. And then we, and then we officially launched it in 2019 at public libraries. And in 2018, we made it into virtual. And obviously the writing blog, which is an outlet, for high school students to write about their experience for other high school. It is a peer-to-peer blog. It's a blog from grade 8 to grade 12. And it's kind of one of its kind because it's all written by students. And this is kind of our timeline. So we launched the initiative in 2012. 2013, we published the 4 titles. 2014, we launched an app. You can download the free version. It's a fun little app. The idea of the app was basically to make writing stories less daunting, where kids can collaborate by one sentence at a time. So each kids contribute one sentence together. They build a whole story together. So that was kind of fun. 2015 is where we registered not-for-profit. 2016, we launched the Wave blog. 2017, we had our first youth author book reading event at Indigo. So that was kind of fun. The author, she was one of the winners when she was grade 4. When she did the book reading, she was grade 7. And 2018 was where we pilot the writing workshop. And in 2019, we received approval from the Toronto Public Library, which is the largest system, to be able to deliver, a writing workshop, at public libraries. It is an after-school program, and it's 100% volunteer run. So that's why, we needed, a place to deliver the sort of workshop, and libraries just totally make sense. And obviously last year, due to COVID, we pivot into virtual, and it kind of really, really ballooned with the virtual. We have attendance, from all over Canada, from Saskatchewan, from Yukon, from Newfoundland, from Nova Scotia. It's been phenomenal, and we got some really, really good press from that as well. In 2021, this is just a show for the ongoing expansion, and that for the last few years, all the net proceeds from the book sale has been donated to the winner's charity of choice. So, so this photo was taken in 2019 when a winner charity of choice was the RVH Foundation, and that was before the COVID, where they were able to deliver the giant check to the charitable organization. This year we had to do it virtually, but it was still very, very fun. And this is the one thing that I find when I speak to all the kids, that has won the contest. And, not to generalize, but most of the kids that, students that really focus in writing. A lot of them actually are really, really shy, you know. I know it, even though where there's social media, and it seems like, you know, the kids have really put themselves up there using all those social media apps and things like that. You know, the majority of the ones that I speak to, like, you know, I do speak to quite a bit of them. Okay, a lot of them are actually quite shy. And one of the things they find was that, you know, when they participate in some of our courses, and even especially as a winner, it really helped them to boost their confidence, you know. And that was one thing. And I remember Safar Ali here, you know, she even, like, you know, signed to become, like, you know, part of championing a lot of, like, you know, the school debate team, you know, and stuff. So it was pretty like, you know, phenomenal hearing all these feedback, you know, from the students. And the proceeds, you know, so more than 650 school has participated in our contests. We have published 17 titles since 2012. The reason why 7 titles, because it's not always one definitive winner. We do have a scoring, you know, from all the ratings of the stories. And so most often, you know, some of the stories are neck to neck within the stores, and then we will publish, like, you know, more than 1 titles. Like last year, you know, we had 2 winners. And we've had, like, you know, more than 2,000 students that has participated, you know, our contests, you know, throughout Canada. And this is just some of the winners, like, you know, getting, like, you know, press on their own. Because most of these winners are from smaller communities, and it's really, really inspiring, you know, and we can see that, like, you know, it's a very, very inspiring story for the kids to be in the press, you know, to be official publisher, you know, in the industry. So it's kind of really, really exciting. And they just get pressed on their own. We don't really do too much to it, just because, like, you know, the communities really appreciate, you know, when we tell them that, hey, you know, you have a local winners. And yeah, so it's pretty phenomenal. And some of the kids that gets interviewed, you know, if you listen to some of the interview, they're very, very mature. And we do, and some of the kids, all these kids participate in what we call Meet the Author videos. So we do have a YouTube channel that the kids talk about, like, you know, what inspired them to write the stories and how to go about the stories, and giving advice to other kids on how to write stories. So that's just, it's pretty cool. It's super cool. And this is some of the photos we capture on the in-person, you know, writing workshops from all over. We did have some writing workshops in Calgary as well as in the libraries, believe it or not, when I look back the list. And obviously, like, you know, we also participate in events. And so we also do events for writing workshop, like the Word in the Streets, which is a big events across 3 provinces where we do writing workshops and stuff. And obviously, like, none of this can happen without volunteers. We are 100% volunteer runs. You know, currently we have about, like, you know, 40 volunteer that are on the rosters of just facilitators. Each workshop we do now virtually, you know, we have at least, like, you know, minimum of 4 or 5, like, you know, facilitators. And we get an average of about, like, anywhere between 30 to 50 kids per virtual workshop. And so we do breakout rooms. So each facilitators work with about 8 to 10 kids. So it's really, really, really phenomenal. And we've been getting some really, really good feedback from the parents, you know, because we've started to do feedback surveys. We also do an assessment in the beginning with the kids and assessment afterwards, just to make sure that, you know, they when they walk away, they are walking away, you know, with some knowledge, and that they have learned some stuff from us and stuff. Yeah, and just like last year alone, you know, we launched our virtual workshop using Facebook Live, and we had like 1,700 viewers. And last year we had 771 kids, you know, participate just between May and December. So it's been very, very, very positive. And the writing workshop has garnered us, you know, through some media, you know, and I think a lot of it is timing, you know, because of COVID. A lot of parents are also looking for activity for kids. You know, all our programs are free. It's first come, first serve basis. There's no fee, there's no nothing. They just need to have a computer and a Zoom connection. Really, that's it. So we do have in the news from a website if you're interested to watch any of the media press and coverage that we've received. And the Wave blog is definitely kind of one of the things why we started this Wave blog was I recognize that there is a lot of publication for kids, especially for high school students and stuff. However, the many magazines and publications that evolves around music, fashion, pop culture, nothing very, very serious in terms of when you talk about stress, and what they're going through, and they are going through a lot, because they are at a very important point of their life in terms of it's the future, right? It's the start of something that is great, right? And while there are student blogs, but most of the student blogs that I was Googling online were from university students. And so university students were sharing, so a lot of universities have a student blog themselves, but there was nothing for high school students. And that was why I thought that it was a great opportunity for us to have a platform for high school students, to share what they are going through, and what was really, really interesting is when I first had this idea, and I was sharing this idea with people and friends, it goes, well, Ivy, where are you going to get students to write this? I said, I just felt that, if I put it out there, something will happen. And it did. And now I constantly receive resumes and student that wants to write for us. This is a blog that it's a pure blog, and, and I always ask the student, how did you find us? What did you like about it? And, and they would always pick an article or pick a blog, something that they can relate to, right? Because it is what students are going through. And what's really amazing is that, we have an editor, Kamara. She is totally awesome. This wouldn't be possible without having a real editor. Everything that gets published, goes through editing process, right? So we personally work with all the students to make sure that it's published ready. So in between that stage, the students are also learning how to write and learning how to refine their writing. Because one of the things that I find when I'm working with a lot of the students is that school teaches them to write essays and research paper, and they're so used to doing that, right? But then I explained to them that the blog is not, we're not that, I don't assign your topic, you're not interviewing anyone, I'm not asking you to do research, I'm asking you to share, something about you. You can have a point of view, which is fine, but how did you arrive at that point of view? And it's very different. And there are students that struggle with that, expressing themselves, and that's something that, school doesn't really focus on, because it's all on essays and papers and stuff. And so, and this is also just my findings when working with the students, and it's great. It's really, really phenomenal. And we've gotten some really, really positive feedback from the students as well. And ultimately, that is our goal. We want to champion literacy and creativity in the community. We are very, very grassroots. It was very impressive when Steve started, his presentation. He has all these wonderful sponsors. Well, I can tell you that we don't have any sponsors. We solely run by donations. We apply for grants, and private families. That basically it's all through really donations and stuff. And basically this is really our manifesto. We really want to spread the benefits of creative writings, to more confidence, engaging community and stuff. And that's what we're all about. And yes, we're going to the end now. So this is this deck wasn't really made for this particular presentation. It was something that we had that we want to present to our partners, and sponsorships opportunities and stuff. But it's a good, I felt it was really good to give you an overview for those that has never even been to our website. Our website has tons of information. And this is kind of how our website is it really focused on we publish a blog every Thursday. So every Thursday there's a new blog. And then there is also we post a lot of the virtual workshop ahead of time, so parents can plan ahead and book the students, and obviously the books. Okay, so these books are phenomenal in terms of like from all over, from the design aspect. We are very, very grateful that we have OCAD students that illustrate all these wonderful, fabulous book covers for us. Obviously, I've started doing that in this year, starting from the last 7 years. I attend OCAD open house, and I go and I look at the styles, and that's basically how I recruit the students. I get in touch with them, and some of the students are very, very grateful, and we've been very, very, very fortunate. So yeah, I mean, I guess how many people out here that are here are from the creative industries, are designers or themselves? So I'm going to stop sharing now so that if anybody wants to, yes, you have to unmute yourself.
Yep. So I'm a creative director. I'm sure there's a few other designers.
Yeah, Elisa, put up your hand. Is there anything you want to say?
Oh, I'm a graphic designer.
Okay, you're a graphic designer, yes. And okay, and does anyone here have kids or students or aunts and uncles? Any one of you guys have heard of the Kids and Rights for Kids contest? I'm just curious, is because being as grassroots as we are. No? Okay. Any questions from anyone?
How long typically are the stories? Is there a specific amount that you need from the students?
Yeah, it's 6,500 word count is a max. So we do have a max. So there are short story, contests and stuff. And our judging panel is phenomenal. Every year I recruit a judging panel, and we try to look for professionals in industries. So we've had a winning published authors to editors in Global Mail, Toronto Stars, and different publications and stuff before as part of our judging panel, which you can all see in our website.
I'd certainly encourage, actually, seeing as we have 10 participants, let's just skip the breakout room and make this essentially a big breakout room.
Okay.
So if everybody can, feel free, turn on your cameras, and we'll continue this Q&A session here.
Okay.
And jump in if you have any questions for Ivy. Has any students continued on with a writing career that you're aware of?
Well, most of the winners are younger grades, so some of them are still in high school. So we do have some they have contributed to our away blog, right? So like some of the winners, and we try to keep in touch with most of the winners, but it is tough, especially like some of them are universities now, and some of them we've lost contact with, but all the previous winners, gets to be on the judging panel. So that's kind of super cool.
Everybody's very quiet today.
I know everybody's very, very quiet. It's I just feel like maybe I should share my screen and just point out a couple of things on our website.
What were the biggest challenges for you setting up a nonprofit? Was there some hurdles or obstacles that made it very difficult for you to get this project up and running?
Yeah, there is for sure. I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't call it big hurdles, but there were definitely hoops that we had to jump through for sure. For example, right now, when you go to our virtual workshops here, right, all the facilitators that you see, they all have to go through vulnerability. A vulnerability check, right? So basically, a vulnerability check is different in terms of various cities, depending on how the police and the local police does it. Some they do online, I think in Peel Region or whatever, right? But in Toronto, right, I have to print out the the PRC vulnerability check on a legal size, right? And I had to sign it. The volunteer has to sign it, and we had to mail it back into the police, and then wait for the police to mail back the confirmation. And so all the facilitators go through this challenging process, right? For that. But the thing is, like, when you apply for charity status, that's also like a process as well. You have to fill in the application. You also have to put in together something almost like a business proposal, so that you know exactly what you're doing, and and stuff. And for us, like, so it was a process. It takes about like 9 months, for us to get approval, because CRA has to go through all the stuff. So there's definitely that. You need to have 3 board members. So there's a bunch of requirements you have to fulfill. To register a not-for-profit is relatively easy, because it's just like any business. You can just go and you can just register. So that's relatively straightforward. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I guess I just want to point out in the Meet the Author. These are some of the Meet the Author videos that in our YouTube channel, that are these kids that has previous winners. So we do have Where Are They Now, that we keep in touch with some of the kids and talk about how the winning contest has impacted them. So that's kind of like, a cool little thing there. Yeah.
And I'm also curious, like, has COVID positively or negatively impacted Ripple Foundation? Like, how have you had to adjust throughout COVID?
Well, I think for the writing workshop, by pivoting into virtual, it kind of really pushed us into virtual world. It has given us a bigger reach, because all of a sudden you have students, in more remote places where it wouldn't be possible for us to deliver an in-person workshop, but now they can also attend as well. So that was like, so that was definitely super cool. But in terms of the contest, it's going to be very, very challenging to see the number of entry this year, because in the previous years, we always rely on doing a lot of direct mail through the schools. So we do send out little mailers that looks like, this, it's a little poster, and we hope that the schools would post it, and and so kids knows about this contest and stuff, right? But because with all the school closure, and stuff, though, that's not really happening. So we've tried different things to just try to get the word out there, so that students and kids are aware of these contests and stuff. So that's totally unknown. Yeah.
And so this is my last question. So it's grades 4 to 8 that you target with this contest. And
Yeah.
I think you have, it's coming up the end of this month for submissions for this year.
Yes.
Okay, so if anybody knows any students who are creative writers, certainly get the word out to them.
And we also have, so you can meet some of our amazing volunteers here. So we have about, I would say right now, we have about probably 54 volunteers, 40 of them being mainly facilitators. And we have what we have called the core volunteers that really helps us to make sure the program is running properly. And they're just like, phenomenal.
All right, that's it for my questions. Anybody else has any questions for Ivy?
I have a question.
I do. Ooh. That's okay.
Hi, Ivy. My name is Ritavila. I'm all the way in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love what you're doing with the Ripple Foundation. I'm not sure how much you know about like education and literacy in my country, but it's a definite issue, to put it lightly. And I guess I wanted to know, would you ever consider going international? So not necessarily only focusing on Canada, but then opening like a South African chapter or an Indian chapter or wherever in the world where young children dream and need to write more and have stories, but need a bit of mentorship and help?
Well, it's funny because we have received emails from the States, and I also have a friend in the States that also have asked about that. I think it's great. I mean, I would love to. I mean, but obviously, like right now, Ripple Foundation, we are a registered charity only in Canada, right? Our program is a whole Canada. So in order to do that, there's probably a whole different set of legalities I would need to look into, before proceeding with that, right? But I think, I think it would be great. A lot of it has to do with finding the right people to help you to run it, because especially as a 100% volunteer run, we're doing this like really for like, the passion and really believe in terms of what we're doing, right? So yeah, but I love the idea and I welcome the opportunity, because I can totally be honest with you. When I first started back in 2012, I had no idea Ripple Foundation would be what it is today. So I mean, I'm constantly open to opportunities and open to doors in terms of what led, because really one thing led to another. It wasn't like in 2012 I sat down and I wrote together a proposal. It was nothing like that at all. I mean, things just kind of evolve and just happen. I mean, if I never had volunteers, none of this would never happen. If I never received contest entry, none of this would ever happen. If I didn't have any student that want to write for the weight blog, the weight blog would not have existed. If students didn't sign up for the workshop, we wouldn't have continued with the workshop, right? So, I mean, basically, you just had to put it out there and see, like, what will happen, and it's true. Sometimes, like, there's things that I want, but the star has to line up, and sometimes the star do line up. It's like, oh my God, I need a teacher to help me put together this curriculum, right? And ironically, I was at this event, and I met a teacher. I spoke with her, nothing happened. A month later, she called me back and she said she was interested to help in our organization. I said, oh my God, that's amazing, right? So yeah, it's really serendipity. I mean, things just happen, but I'm totally open to, like, opportunity to see what doors open.
I was just thinking,
just to add that, thank you so much. Sorry, Stephen, to cut you off.
Go ahead.
You wanted talkers, I'm a talker. I guess I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. And I think at least you've got a model that you've created that then you could possibly then license to other people. So then it wouldn't necessarily be you having to run it, because you are just one person in the world. But if you could then make some form of template model book that you can then license to other people that want to, then possibly then open something similar, a different chapter around the world that they can then buy from you, and it has the standards and the different things that would be expected, where then at least then we'd know what we need to stick to and what the standard is.
That's a great idea.
But then it just runs and it grows. So
yeah. Well, and my comment was very similar. You should really contact Creative Mornings head office and speak with some of the people there, because essentially Creative Mornings is a global organization that's entirely volunteer run and led. And it may be something, if you are looking into that, it might be a model that you could emulate for Ripple Foundation.
That would be great. That would be great. I know, it's like when you open up, and when I first, it's funny, Stephen, like, when we spoke, you never shared with me the manifesto. It was my first time seeing it. I said, wow, this is pretty impressive. And I said, that's good. It's like, I think about like Ripple Foundation with that. I said, okay, I think we met all the bullets.
Oh, that's awesome. Great. Okay, great.
I'm curious for yourself, Ivy, how do you manage motivation or energy level? Because I can see how much work all of this takes to make it from 2012 to where you are now. Mm-hmm. So when things are challenging and it feels like it's so much work, how do you keep yourself motivated and your tank full?
Well, actually, you know what? The workload is always a workload. right? You know, and I just focus on the work. I don't focus that, oh my God, it's so much work. So basically, the way how I go about it is that I focus on, like, you know, one task at a time. I don't know, I mean, in my mind, I always feel that the universe will never give me something that I cannot handle. So that, you know, so every time when something happens, I always believe that it's given to me because they know that I can handle it. And so having that mantra myself, I just have to, you know, prioritize it and chunk it through, right? But like, this is a thing. It's like, you know, we are 100% volunteer run. And, you know, and I've been asked, like, oh my goodness, Ivy, like, where, like, you know, who funds you? I mean, even when it was 2015, when it was a not-for-profit, like, you know, people were asking me, like, you know, how are you funding this? How are you making this? Because, you know, you're printing all this stuff, you know, you're mailing all this stuff, like, you know, you're doing all these things, right? And, you know, and I said, well, you know what, believe it or not, the biggest cost is probably me, myself, because I'm doing all the work, you know, I don't really need to hire anybody to build me a website, you know, to design anything for me or whatever, right? So all the money that's been expenses, like, you know, it's affordable, and I was able to afford it, you know, because, like, you know, so it was something that, like, I was able to do. And this is why one of the volunteers suggested to, and it was a volunteer suggestion to go to get charity status, so that, like, I won't be the only one funding this, so that I can get other people to help me to fund this, you know, by getting charity status, we can get donations, we can apply for grants, you know, and so forth, right? So that was the whole intent, you know. I mean, I don't need a whack load of money because, like, you know, we don't have an office, everybody's working from home, we don't have salaries to pay for, right? We're 100% volunteer run, you know. So in a sense, like, you know, a lot of the stuff, like, you know, are, like, in terms of, like, it's really the marketing, the effort marketing. Like, we did some Facebook ads this time, we try to do some, like, you know, LinkedIn ad, because we need to promote the contests, right? You know, because now the schools are not there, the school is not open, right? So I can't rely on schools to, you know, to post posters, you know, to the students. So we had to be creative about how we go about, like, you know, sharing this at a very grassroots level, because that's really what we are, right? But I think, you know, if you chunk it out, like, in terms of when you're working and when you're prioritizing, oh, okay, I need to get this done. You know, you don't feel that as, you don't feel the work when you enjoy what you're doing. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Yeah, because it's like, you know, because, like, you know, when I get, like, for example, like, you know, the Wave blog, right? I was, you know, mentioned to Stephen, like, you know, we can only afford to publish, like, you know, once a week, because it's a lot of work to publish anything, you know. It needs to go through editing, you know, you need to source an image, you know, you need to time it, you need to do all that stuff, right? I work with my volunteers, we schedule everything, you know, and that's why we can only do once a week. We can't do a daily, it's just too much work, right? So we can scale up or we can scale back, right? Just like the writing workshop. Right now, we're delivering 3 virtual workshops every single month, okay? Last year in the summer, we were doing a writing workshop every single week, right? For the whole duration of, like, the summer, you know, and I realized, like, you know, that was, you know, taking a little bit toll on our volunteers and, you know, stuff. So this year I scaled back. We only do 1 session, 3 consecutive week every single month, right? So we can scale up or we can scale back, just like our workflow, right? You know, I mean, the thing is, like, you know, if you want to be creative, great, do a little bit more work, you know, and create something new, create something refreshing, right? You know, but if you're very busy, that's fine. You can use the same one that you've already created, you know, and stuff, right? I mean, yeah, it's so it doesn't feel like work when you are, you know, enjoying it. So does that answer?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we're approaching 10 o'clock here. Time for one last question. If everybody has one, just jump in there. I'll give you a couple secs. All right, sounds like that might be it. So that is great. Thank you, Ivy, for that. Must be very rewarding for you, and thank you for sharing that with us. That is it. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great rest of your Friday.
Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now.